Doctor Who is officially over, as I've confirmed with insiders that Disney is not renewing the Doctor Who deal. This is already going around the internet, and people are talking about it as well. It's something we've kind of known for a long time. I heard last year that the Disney bosses were very, very unhappy with Season 1's performance of Doctor Who and that they were likely not going to be renewing. I reported on it back then. Russell T Davies got those reports as well and started going around and doing publicity tours last year. There's no decisions on Doctor Who's future. We're going to wait and see what happens with Season 2. And he'd say that everywhere. And it was pretty clear, just based on the ratings trends, that if, it's a wait-and-see situation, they're going to not do even better. It's going to do even worse in Season 2. That was pretty obvious on that level, and it did. And we had the worst rated episodes of Doctor Who ever because of this whole situation. And this Billy Piper stunt didn't work. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, what is interesting is that I've also heard the BBC is reaching out to a couple other American streaming services and trying to get them to pick things up where Disney left off. That's what we'll get into in just a moment. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us as we talk about all things Doctor Who and science fiction, my friends. I love science fiction. I'm a science fiction writer, and they should hire me to write Doctor Who. I've got a treatment I'm writing because I really like the BBC audio dramas. I don't know. This is going into like deep Doctor Who lore here. I said Doctor Who. Oh, geez. I didn't mean that, Billy Piper. I didn't mean that. I mean deep Doctor Who lore. And, of course, the BBC audio stuff, really, really good. There's if you look up a writer, Will Hadcroft, Hadcroft, and grab the audio productions that are on Amazon, beautiful books. And so definitely like that kind of stuff. And so I thought, oh gosh, I'll do an audio production myself of a time traveler. I've got that. I'm working on it. It's like I've got too many projects, but it's like my fifth project in the queue, and so I'll get to it at some point. It's going to be a lot of work to produce a big audio production, but I do write novels. So if you like novels, if you like science fiction, if you like everything I'm talking about, I think you'll enjoy my books. Go check them out. It's in the description below. It starts with The Stars Entwine My Whole Universe, and this is really the spot to go because I'm building a lot out of this universe. Great aliens, big space conflict, all the fun stuff that you used to get with Doctor Who, but you can't get now. So it's in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. Support our channel, guys. It's just $4.99 for an ebook or an Audible credit if you got that, or it's on Kindle Unlimited. Thanks for reading so much, guys. It's been just a great few days. Actually, we've been had a big surge in readers, and I appreciate you guys being here. Grab that in the description below. All right. So multiple sources are reporting the BBC's deal with Disney for funding Doctor Who will not be renewed after dismal ratings of Russell T Davies and Ncuti Gatwa's era. When the 60th anniversary specials were announced for Doctor Who, it came as a surprise for fans that the show was going to air worldwide, with Disney Plus bringing Doctor Who to a bigger global audience than ever, or so they thought. The new influx of Disney cash brought about huge budget increases for the episodes. The rumors are it costs $6 to $7 million per episode, which is much higher than they've ever gotten with the BBC. And Disney wanted the shows capable of streaming in 4K. Now, the media is already going out. There was an article that came out yesterday saying that them upsizing things to 4K actually hamstrung Doctor Who, but I didn't see that. When I watched these episodes, the productions were off the charts compared to previous seasons. The directing, you could tell, the camera work was really upgraded. All the effects were really upgraded, and all that shininess was just on a turd of crap, which Russell T Davies was writing, and that was the problem with it. I don't think he was hamstrung at all. I think he had more freedom than ever before, and that was actually the main problem, because all he did with that freedom was take things and turn it to this big identity politics thing over and over and over again, like complaining about white people, complaining about gays, complaining about transgenderism, complaining about this and that. And all of the weird messaging just fell so flat. It was terrible, and it was just unfun to watch. The only decent episodes were the ones where Russell T Davies really wasn't writing it. The Stephen Moffat one, even though it was kind of slow in the first season with Boom, was the most watchable episode of that. The most watchable episode of the series overall was the one where, of course, Ncuti Gatwa wasn't even in it because his character's so insufferable. It makes it much crazier when you look at all this stuff going along. So this is all happening, and of course, Doctor Who was never about the effects or visuals, and this is where a lot of modern storytelling doesn't understand things. And I blame George Lucas for this, because it all started with the Phantom Menace, and he wanted to experiment with CGI, and he brought CGI on a massive scale, which we'd never seen before, and everybody kind of just copied copy-pasted that. We're just going to shove as much crap on the screen to distract you from the fact that the plot's not that interesting, and just make these action sequences so wildly out of control that it distracts you from the fact that there's no plot going on. And it's really sad. If you actually look at the action sequences before CGI, where, we'll just go with Star Wars again, the lightsaber battles, even though they didn't have all the crazy, jumping around effects, etc., they're more emotionally appealing to the audience than they are with a lot of effects. And this is even more so the case with Doctor Who. Doctor Who was very low budget, especially when you go back to Hartnell and the like. I mean, you see, one of the one that sticks out in my mind is when there's literal dudes in ant monster suits walking around, and it's very much on a stage and it's obvious, and the actors are pretending to be scared by these ant monster suits. It's ridiculous. But you know what? The characters are compelling and the stories are compelling enough that it works out. Even the Daleks, they are just look like they are plungers sticking out of some spray painted thing. It literally is that. And so, those classic things didn't require a ton of effects. It just required imagination, required good storytelling. Got way better. Of course, Tom Baker's stuff was not high budget either. Let's be honest. And you just had great science fiction storytelling on it. That's what worked. The acting, the characters, the writing is what built the charm of it. And when you don't have that and you just overly rely on effects, that's what you get. You get Russell T Davies in a nutshell. So Disney bosses have not been happy, like I said, the entire way. There were talks about removing the deal even after the first season aired, even though Russell T Davies protested that. And of course, everybody was talking about it being canceled all season. And it finally got announced after episode 6 that it was indeed going to be canceled, and that this was going to end and that Gatwa was going to be out. We confirmed that early on. And of course, it wasn't planned that way. He shot his regeneration scene. It was a reshoot that was done just a few months ago, because season 2 was filmed last year. And so they planned on it, and BBC actually told me at one point that he was contracted through 2028. They really wanted him to be the longest running Doctor Who ever, so they could do that, so they could brag and say that their black guy was more successful, their gay black guy was more successful than all the white guys. That was their dream, and they really thought, these people, you got to understand, they really think that this modern audience is going to give them these accolades because everybody just wants to support their agenda. It's not the case. That's why Trump won, you retards. But hey, that's what's going on all the way around in the Doctor Who offices. And so each episode in the second season got even worse, as it seemed like the entire theme of the series was a lash out against toxic fans and YouTubers like myself and streamers talking about the show, because we'd talk about how bad the show is, and then he'd go out there and be like, there's literally a bad guy villain who was duping Ruby into going on dates with him because it just to gotcha her, because he wanted to prove that she was wrong, even though they're completely right. And they'd have these weird lectures in it. It was very insane. And then, of course, the first episode, The Planet of the Incels, was of course, a dig at fans as well. Ridiculous stuff. So that's why this failed. Exactly. It's pretty obvious at this point. Now, the Billy Piper decision came very, very late. Russell T Davies did that as a Hail Mary real quick, about 3-4 weeks prior to everything going. The original leaks that I got actually said that that Gatwa regenerated and they ended it, and it didn't show who he regenerated into. That was the original intent. And so then they pasted this in there, and they pasted the Billy Piper thing in there at the end as a quick gimmick, and it was really meant as a sales pitch to Disney to be like, please check it out. We've got this. We've got Billy Piper. It's going to be a fan interest. It's going to be renewed. Trying to get that renewal to happen. Disney didn't buy the gimmick. They of course watched all the fan reaction happen, and the fans hated it because it's stupid. It seems stupid. It seems like a cheap gimmick. And it seems like bad writing that there was no plan for, because there wasn't. And so the fans are just like, this is done. We're glad we tuned out. And so since they saw that, the Disney deal is dead at this point. Now, BBC has different plans. And of course, this is what's happening at this point. They are planning on going forward with a season 3. Don't know if it's going to be Russell T Davies. Russell is, of course, pitching it. He has written season 3 but writing was done for Gatwa. He did not know that Gatwa was going to leave when he did that. And so he'd have to rewrite a lot of this stuff to get it going. And we don't know that he's going to be back at this point. But the BBC is trying to go forward. They're also trying to get in partnership talks, as I said at the beginning of the video. And the two groups they're talking with are Prime Video and Netflix. And so they want those to pick it up, and in hopes that they're going to get even further. Now, the reason Disney wanted this to begin with was Disney wanted the classic Doctor Who and the 2005 Doctor Who back catalog for their streaming service, because that's where people really rewatch these things and spend a lot of watch hours on the shows. Paramount makes a lot of money off of Star Trek by, of course, licensing it worldwide, and then Paramount Plus in the United States gets a ton of people watching The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and the like. So that's exactly what they want. Now, the 2005 series is on HBO Max, and so that's already out there. And classic Doctor Who is on another streaming channel. I can't remember what it is. And so Disney didn't get that as a part of the deal. And that kind of soured them to begin with, even though they had this. I don't know what the promises were made on that front, but clearly those were not being offered, and so Disney's just not interested in any new stuff as a result. So maybe they're trying to package all of these for one of these outlets at this point. Maybe that's how they'll entice them to do it. But yikes, this is something I really hope Netflix doesn't get involved in this, because it's going to be another ugly sort of identity politics mess. But we'll see what happens next. Like I said, they are planning on going forward with it regardless. It's just a matter of how much budget they're going to have. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Please check out my book, The Stars Entwined, in the description below. Thank you guys so much for reading. Really appreciate all you guys out there, and all the science fiction fans. We'll be back soon.